Hi, I'm Jim. I'm a narcissist. I have narcissistic personality disorder. I'm making videos for anybody that's just trying to gain firsthand information into this disorder and what it's like to have it. Um, I am officially diagnosed by a therapist. Um, so if you think you have this disorder or you've been diagnosed, maybe you think you know somebody that might have this disorder, maybe you're a victim. I'm sorry. This disorder and people with this disorder do a lot of damage. I've done a lot of damage to a lot of people. I've hurt a lot of people. Sorry, my energy level's a little low today. Not really that I'm like down in the dumps. But I did remember, I don't glory hound, so I'm not going to share what I did. But I did a large kind of a physical activity that I'm kind of crashing off a little bit, to be honest. But still wanted to go ahead make a video, and I think this one's going to be kind of important, and it's something I'm really dealing with. So there's different types of narcissistic personality disorder. Disclaimer, I'm not a licensed therapist or psychiatrist or psychologist or counselor. I'm an auditor. But I do have this disorder, so it kind of gives me a unique perspective, and that's why I make these videos. But with that being said, do not think that this is my life. This is what I do is research, this disorder, and I, have a doctorate or anything like that. Not the case. So I try not to do things like talk about the other types of narcissistic personality disorder. But mine stems from guilt and shame. I have extreme survivor's guilt. When I was young, my brother and I were walking home from baseball practice, and he was hit by a car. So my mind believes that everybody blames me, that I should have been able to prevent the accident. So it just creates all this shame, guilt, and just hatred for myself. And that's something my therapist and I work on. That's something I work on my own as well. But with that being said, all narcissistic personality disorder comes from some type of self-loathing, right? We're narcissists because at the core we hate ourselves, right? We don't like ourselves. We don't think we're good enough, no matter what you're presenting on the outside, right? And I understand that some types of narcissistic personality disorder, they're the ones that are like, oh my God, remember, Narcissist himself. He thought he was so gorgeous and amazing and beautiful. Remember, he got tricked to see his reflection. And he was so enamored with how beautiful his reflection was that he just laid there staring at himself over and over again, right? Until, kind of weird how the Greek mythology goes. It's one or the other. Or he committed suicide because the reflection never returned his love, or he was never able to gain it and then eventually just died. So one or the other. Like I said, Greek mythology is a little bit off. But that's, one type of narcissistic personality disorder where you believe you're so beautiful and amazing and wonderful, but still at the core of that is it comes from insecurity, right? So for me, and of course mine is insecurity, self-loathing, self-hatred. There's something in there that wants me to punish myself for what my survivor's guilt believes is my fault, right? So with that being said, what happens when we're alone? We don't like ourselves. We fucking hate ourselves. So what happens when we're alone? All right? You'll, at least me, I've noticed the better part of my life, man, I've really tried to do anything but be by myself. And I mean like in any facets. I'm old now. You can see the hairs missing up here, gray down here, you know what I mean, right? I'm not a spring chicken. So when I was younger, I I didn't do anything even close to the stuff that I do alone now. I mean, I just couldn't be by myself. Not that I couldn't be trusted, or anything like that, but I mean, I hated myself. I didn't like myself. I had to be around others, so I didn't feel like I was only me alone in my solitude. So, to share, and if you've watched any of my other videos, my ex left several months ago. That was back in November. It's April now. Since she left, I've only lived by myself. I have had very, very short stints of dating, and have made the conscious decision that at this point, before I try to go out and date somebody else, that I want to work on myself, right? So I'm not looking to date right now. So I'm alone without a relationship. I have kids, but they, of course, the oldest lives on his own, but the other two live with their mom. Good decent distance away. Not that it's not driving distance, but about an hour, right? So at that point, I live alone. I'm not in a relationship, and I got to tell you, the things that I like to do, just nobody my age likes to do. So I find myself alone all the time. Last night, I went to go see a cover band, and I went by myself, and that's not the first time. Earlier in the week, I went to go see a heavy metal band at a decent-sized concert by myself, right? Nobody likes to do these things. That activity that I did today, my son and I were supposed to do it together. It was actually going to be one of his birthday presents, but he had a sports thing that popped up last minute, and he wasn't able to do it. I tried to give this away. I reached out to like everybody I knew, all kinds of groups, right? So I did that alone today. So what do? I mean, we hate ourselves. Solitude and aloneness, especially for my type of narcissistic personality disorder, is tough. It's rough. I'm gonna tell you, for me, I'm starting to embrace it a little bit. I mean, not that I'm not gonna tell you that I like it better than the alternative, but I like that I'm able to meet that challenge and overtake it. I like that I don't sit on that fucking couch, right, on a Saturday night doing nothing, watching TV, instead of going and enjoying a cover band playing Tom Petty for 2.5 hours, because Tom Petty music is amazing, and Tom Petty can't give us his music anymore, so all the closest I can get is a cover band, right? I like that instead of laying on that couch doing nothing, I get out of my comfort zone. Yeah, it sucks. Yeah. I sit there a lot of times thinking people are laughing at me and, and stuff. I mean, that's my disorder. I mean, that's the challenge, right? But it gets easier. And I've been doing this for months now. And every time I do it, it gets a little bit easier. So if you're like me, don't stay in. Get out there. I mean, go philosophical on you a little bit, right? So, had a professor back in college that shared just an amazing, phenomenal story, and she came in and she told us, she's like, hey, I'm going to share this story with you, and when I'm done, please, don't try to console me. I'm going to ask you not to actually, try to engage me in any way. I'm going to dismiss class. So I'm going to share this story with her, because this story will stay with me until, my last breath. And it's just amazing. And it's motivational, and it's phenomenal. So she told us that over the weekend, one of our very, very close friends and peers had made the decision to take their own life. Now, they did so because they've been sick for a long period of time. And of course, due to laws, right, they They couldn't do an assisted suicide, right? So what her friend did was he invited everybody that he cared about, over, and one at a time invited them into the room to talk to him and say goodbye. And she said when it was her turn and she went in there, she immediately, hey, don't you have something that you're working on, like maybe a book? He's like, I've written so many books, more than I ever imagined I would ever write in a lifetime. I've had articles published. I've done so much in my professional life that anything I'm working on, I'm okay to leave it to the people I was working with and to let them take it. I've accomplished more than I ever dreamed professionally. And then she's like, yeah, but what about this grandchild? Don't you want to see them this or see them that? And man, I've lived so many years and I've seen so many phenomenal things with my family. I've seen my kids, my grandkids do things I never dreamed I'd ever get to see. And I'm okay saying goodbye to them today. And that's when she realized, she's like, look, I'm not being fair. I'm looking at anything that I can do to try to convince him to change his mind because I'm being selfish. Because I want more time with him. Even if he's sick, even if he's in pain, I want those days with him. And that's not what I took from the story. What I took from the story is if you have the opportunity, that you have consciousness, and you're looking at possibly ending your life, and the rightfully, because he's in extreme pain, terminal, right? And you can look back at your life and say, today is the day that I'm okay to contently close my eyes. And if you don't feel like you could do that, you can change it, right? If you're not on that path, change it. And so, if I were in that bed and I had a terminal illness and I was contemplating pulling the plug on myself, would I have wanted to go see that Tom Petty cover band by myself, or would I lay here because I was afraid people might laugh at me? Tom Petty's amazing. Tom Petty's awesome. Some of the greatest music ever made. And it just, live music does something to me. I can play his music on guitar. I can play his songs on iTunes. But going there and hearing it live, even though somebody else is singing it, just does something. So, my point being, if you're like me and it's so easy to say no because we're scared, right? Because we don't like what that disorder tells us. We don't like what that disorder thinks about us. I get that. I do. I get it more than anybody. I have it just as bad, if not worse, right? I promise you. But yeah, we can't miss out on life. So, just because I'm not in a relationship, just because I don't have friends my age or whatever to go do stuff with, that doesn't mean I don't get to have a life. Doesn't mean I don't get to have fun. I don't let this disorder run things anymore. I control things. And like I said, that activity that I did today, not a lot of people do that alone. Not many at all. And it's not the only one, right? So I've done others and I've done them by myself. And here's the thing, does it hurt? Nobody's there to see you cross the finish line, and you watch everybody else hugging family members and loved ones. Here's the thing, these are different kinds of events. And I promise you, the loved ones are there. And I watch them. And they're there at the finish line taking their photos and, and big hugs. And I'm proud of you. And I get it, right? And that's awesome they have that, right? And I'm glad for them. But am I going to miss out on these activities because it's just me and I don't I don't have that person, that I don't have those people at the finish line for me. It's easy with this disorder to live in self-loathing. It's really easy. What's not easy is getting the fuck out there and doing it alone. All right? But it's so much better. It is. I get it. It's not as great as if you had those other people. I know. Right? I've done stuff with other people. You know what I mean? So I've experienced both sides. Right? But given the alternative of doing nothing or doing it alone, I do it alone right now. And right now it's kind of working for me. And like I said, the more that I do it alone, the easier it gets. And there are some activities that are better alone. Got a motorcycle. Yeah. I'm not putting it on the back of that thing. Not yet. No. Not going to glory hound. But yeah. So some activities I get, are better alone. But, there's some that are just group oriented or couples oriented. I get it. So I'm gonna challenge you to challenge yourself. So here's what I would say. The next time you're in a situation, let's say the Tom Petty cover band is playing and you say, nah, it's just me. I'm not going to go there alone. I'm not going to do that. Challenge yourself to go. Right? And after you go, critique it. Right? What were the positives? What were the negatives? Right? Was it better than just staying at home, laying on the couch and doing nothing? Right? Write about it in your journal. Successes and failures, right? No matter which it is. So not everybody's me. I can only tell you my experience, but my experience so far has been pretty darn good. I'm really happy with the results. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna tell you it's a 10 out of 10. It's not. You know what I mean? But it's a hell of a lot better than the alternative. Yeah. So, no glory hounding. I'm not gonna. See, I want to tell you guys about all the awesome, amazing stuff, how great I am and how I did this and I did that. None of that. Not gonna do that. So, I hope this helps. I do. And I'll be honest, there's things that I choose not to do alone. And sometimes I have to challenge myself as to why I do them. I'll give you an example. I don't go out to like restaurants by myself. I try to stay pretty health conscious, so I don't really do fast food. So there really, isn't a whole lot of situations. But I cook a lot because, like I said, I do try to eat healthy. So normally, if I'm eating out, it's because I'm with other people anyway, right? Family members. Do I have friends that go out to eat? I don't know. But that's usually when I go out to eat. Otherwise, I feel like I make the conscious decision because I can't always get the health options I'm looking for, and so I cook at home a lot. All right, so that's something I do choose not to go out and to do alone. But like I said, we can argue whether or not it's there's a level of uncomfortability that comes into that decision, or if it really is about health. Because trust me, it's easy to say, oh, they have healthy options. Well, healthy doesn't mean the same to everybody. So not to get off on the tangent, but If something is low fat, do you consider it healthy? If something is low carb, do you consider it healthy? You know, and I can't tell you how many times they tell you something's healthy, and one of my challenges is blood pressure. So high in sodium, right? So I choose to when it's me to eat at home instead of going out. But like I said, feel free to call me out and say, hey, I think you're a liar, and I don't think you're evaluating yourself effectively. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. And like I said, that's some soul searching that maybe it's a little bit factors into the decision, maybe more than I'm willing to acknowledge or notice. But back to the main point. Like I said, if you're laying in that bed and today's the day that you decide you're going to pull the plug, are you going to look back and be happy with your decision? Are you going to be content? Are you going to be able to look that girl in the eyes and say, I've done everything I've wanted to accomplish in this life. I'm ready to go? Man. Powerful stuff. Yeah, that's one of the most impacting true stories I've ever heard in my life. And hopefully it motivates you. And if you have somebody that has this disorder, maybe it gives you maybe you know somebody or that has this disorder, and maybe gives you a little bit of insight into what things are like for them.